Have you ever seen a word that seemingly randomly had one of these stuck in the middle at the bottom of one of the syllables? Well, this is a part of Korean grammar, and it's actually called a 사이시옷. Now, 사이 meaning in between, and 시옷 being the name of this letter. So what is the purpose of it, and why does it seem to appear everywhere in Korean? If you're not sure what I'm talking about, let me just write up a few examples. There are actually way more examples than this, but I've just picked a few. We've got 뱃살, meaning stomach fat, 햇빛, sunlight, 찻집, a tea house, and 고춧가루, meaning red pepper powder or flakes. And the purpose of this is to combine two words into a new compound word. So in the example of 뱃살, we originally have two words, 배, meaning stomach, and 살, meaning flesh or skin. In 햇빛, we have 해, sun, and 빛, light. So sunlight, as well as 차, tea, and 집, house, 찻집, tea house. And finally, 고추, red pepper, and 가루, flour, making 고춧가루, red pepper, flour, or flakes. And the way that this works is very similarly to the apostrophe S that we have in English. It works just like combining two words together, flesh or skin of the stomach, or light of the sun, sunlight, or a house of tea, powder of red peppers, just like that. And if you look around in Korean, you'll see dozens or hundreds of examples of these. They're really everywhere. Now, the way that this works is adding this causes the second part of the word, the first syllable of the second part of the word, to become a double consonant. So when you have this, you get 뱃, 살, it becomes pronounced as 뱃살 with a double 시옷 here, or 햇빛 with a double 비읍, or 찻집, double 지읒, 고춧가루, double 기읍. So it doesn't only affect the spelling of the words in these new compound forms, but it also affects their pronunciation. Let me give you a few more examples. Now, this isn't something that just randomly happened in Korean. This is how people tended to change the pronunciation of words whenever they were to compound them together. So it's just what naturally happened, and Hangul today reflects that in many cases, but in some cases it doesn't. So let me just show you a couple more examples. We have kimchi, 국, kimchi soup, or kimchi stew, I guess. 코, nose, 구멍, nostril, or nose hole, literally. And finally, 물, 고기, which actually is pronounced as 물, 고기, with a double 기역 here too. Then the reason is originally this sound also changed, and there used to be this written in the word, and over time that disappeared as the spelling standardized. So now it's just 물, water, 고기, but originally it would have been 물, 고기. That's why it's pronounced that way today, but not written that way anymore. So now, when is this used, and how can you use it? Well, first of all, it's only used when one or both of the words being combined comes from pure Korean or is a native Korean word. That means it can't be two words that are combined from Chinese. Now, there are a few exceptions to this, but typically if you have one word that's native Korean and another word that's either Sino-Korean or native Korean, you can combine them by adding this same letter and changing the sound of the second word's first consonant, if that's not too confusing. Hopefully, you should be able to tell by the examples how that works. However, if the word ends in a consonant, it will not add that letter to the word when you combine them. Instead, it will simply be written as normal. So we have 콩, beans, 가루, powder, 콩가루. Notice the pronunciation is there from combining the words, but it doesn't happen in spelling because there would be no way today to write it like that. And the same applied to 물고기. Ending in a consonant would not add this as well, even though the sound changes. But if you were to have other things like 찻집, 집 is native Korean, 차 is Sino-Korean. So this works because at least one of these is a native Korean. So then you might be wondering, well, Billy, how can I use this? I want to make my own compound words, right? Well, now I said that when people combine two words together to make a new compound word, the second word in that new word would become like a double consonant. Not always. For example, let's just try to make 피부, skin, and 색깔, color. Well, you can't simply just combine them to become 피부 색깔, in pronunciation, 피부 색깔, because that's not how it happened. And no one would say 피부 색깔 with a double letter here. So a lot of cases where this happened is simply because that's the way it had been done already. And a lot of times if you were to try to make your own new words like this, you would be wrong unless that word already happens to exist. Let's say you take the Korean word 새 for bird and combine it with 집 for house. So you want to say 새집, right? You want to say a bird house. Well, there already is the Korean word 새집, bird house. And if you were to try to say 새집, that would be very unnatural because that does not exist. So this only happened when it happened, and it's not something that unfortunately we can just add ourselves to make new compound words. But it is useful to be aware so that at least you can know where they came from and how to correctly pronounce them. So again, use this knowledge to help yourself to break apart words that you see that have this, but don't try to use this to create new words on your own because they will be incorrect, as in both of these cases. So, where have you seen this letter before? Are there any interesting words that you know that use it? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐!